So what's up, everyone? It is your girl JL Beauty 87 here, aka Grace, and today we're gonna get into some disappointing products from brands I love. So we all have our special brands that we love, and we just buy everything they come out with, and we're always disappointed when, you know, it's not what we necessarily want it to be. So I'm gonna talk about some of those things. Some of these things are a little older, some of these things are newer. It's basically like a whole bunch of eyeshadow palettes I'm disappointed in, and a couple like face products from brands I really love. So we're gonna start off with Patrick Ta. Now we know I love any and everything Patrick Ta. So out of all the things I tried, this was the most disappointing to me. I mean, I didn't expect it to be like the blushes that are like this product, but I don't know, I guess I expected it to give me more than what it did. But since I'm not really a person who loves contour, I don't know what I expected from this. But this is the Patrick Ta cream contour and powder bronzer duo, and she's chiseled. I don't know, I just expected more from this, and then when I put it on and I didn't get the more, I was just like, oh. And as you see, I made quite a like dip and dent in it to try to make it me like it more, and I still was just like, yeah, no. Yeah, no. So out of all the stuff I've tried from them, this is my least favorite product, and this is the thing I think I use the least out of all my cream bronzers and contours in my collection. Like, I just don't ever reach for this because I was disappointed in it. And then that has nothing to do with the formula or anything. It's, I don't know, I guess compared to all the other bronzers I have, it was just more like it was a mediocre thing. And since I feel like he doesn't give me mediocre products, it was just like, oh, so this is our first mediocre, I'm not impressed with product thing. Okay. And it was hard, but you know, I still kept it, and I'm still gonna like use it up. I'm just not gonna recommend it be bought again because I just wasn't in love with it. Next, I have Mother's First highlighter in like powder form, because she had, you know, the glittery highlighter set. But this is Champagne Gold from 2020, I believe. Highlighter collection. This was just awful, y'all. It's like an ashy mess, and it's called Champagne Gold, but it has like this weird purpley looking undertone, and I don't see like any champagne in it. It just looks really like silvery and ashy. Like, look at that. What am I supposed to do with that? It just looks really silvery and ashy, and imagine that on my cheeks. It's gonna give like a cast. So I don't know what Mother was thinking with this. And then the formula on this is just awful. Like, compared to the formula she has out now, like from Golden Nectar and the ones from Bridgerton, I don't know what this formula was, but it's like, I don't know if it's because the world had just had COVID hit for the first time, and she had to outsource ingredients from other places that she normally doesn't. But that highlighter was not it at all. Like, it was just not it. Another thing from that same collection that I didn't like was this, I forgot the Flora Fantasy eyeshadow palette, or eyeshadow quad. Like, what are we supposed to do with these shades? This is too light for anybody with any sort of melanin. You'd have to be like fair to use this one, and then the rest are just mediocre shades. Like, I do like this shade and this shade, but still, like, I should like the whole quad for the price she charges for these things. And to me, this is just an inner corner shade. These two I'm supposed to put on my lid, and I don't have an outer V shade or a crease shade because it's too damn light. So, plus the formula on this one was not as good as the other three she had, because the other two, because I think it was 3 that she came out with in this collection. And this was just everybody's least favorite, because this is the one that was 50% off. So that lets me know I'm not the only one who felt that way, because I heard a lot of other Pat McGrath viewers say the same thing about that particular quad. They didn't like it either, so it's not just me. Now we're going to get into the 533 million eyeshadow palettes I came out with. So, it's a few Natasha Denona palettes I've been disappointed by, but this was just the one that I had here to show you all, since this was a spur of the moment video. So, and usually the B-list stays here. My grandmother's house, I hate to be mean, but majority of the B-list stuff stays here. So this is Natasha Denona Tropic palette. Now mine doesn't look the way it's supposed to, which is why I'm not gonna open it up, but this palette was awful. I don't even think she sells anymore. That's how bad it went. She just made like a mini version of the colors that everybody liked, which was the bottom row. That was the interesting shades, and went along with that. I haven't tried mine yet. I bought it when I caught it on sale on her website, but I still haven't tried it because I have, as you can see, the original palette. But I don't even understand what's going on with that palette, because like majority of the colors are too ashy for anybody with any sort of like tan, and then the deepest dark brown in there was like my skin tone, so I don't know what I was supposed to do with that. Then the ones at the bottom that everybody was excited for, everybody said it sucked. They didn't suck as bad to me. I feel like people try to make them sound, but they weren't like anything exceptional or wonderful to where, you know, I should have been excited to have them. Next, we have Fenty. Now, we all know Fenty's eyeshadows are never as good as everyone else's, but I was hoping with this palette you at least get some depth in it. The darkest brown isn't even that dark, so This palette as a whole was just mediocre. Sorry y'all, the card got full, but I'm pretty sure I said that the formula of the shadows was mediocre for the price point of it, and then like the deepest shade wasn't that deep, and then all these other shades just seem like they're too light. So it's like for 48 bucks, I just personally didn't feel like it was worth it. And then you need to go back to the drawing board because the shimmers aren't really popping. They're more of like a satin, everyday, boring finish. And then the color story isn't really much to look at either. So I don't know. I was trying to give them a chance because I figured like maybe they had changed the formula again from the last time they had changed it. But no, it's still just not what it is. Next, ColourPop has so many like ups and downs. So it's like this is just the recent super down that I was disappointed in, and this is the Of Quartz palette. So if you all remember, I did a video with this one and the amethyst one because my friend Jackie bought me this one for Christmas, and then I bought the amethyst one from Ulta's website and tried both of them in the video, and I told y'all they was just the mediocre formula. They weren't the really good formula that they normally have. It was mediocre, and that's what made me disappointed in this palette, because it's like with all these gorgeous cool tone shades, you'd think they'd have gave you a good formula to blend them out with, but it was just meh. Like when you have better formulas, I don't know why you think the meh one would be acceptable to people, and to me this is just meh. So it's like I'm keeping it for if they make any more bigger pan palettes like that for me to like swap out shades with, to make my own ColourPop palettes. Like y'all know I do a lot, but otherwise it doesn't serve any purpose. So next I have Mented Cosmetics. Now a lot of these palettes you might have seen before in my if I had to declutter one from each brand video, but this is the Nomad America's Parks palette. And all the palettes I've tried from them and I love from them, this is just my least favorite one, so that's why it's in here. There's nothing wrong with the color story. As you can see, I have like a similar eye look to this part right here, and this part right here is obviously, we all know, more my speed, but I don't know, like I wasn't impressed with the color story of this one compared to all the other wonderful color stories they have. I mean, I know they try to keep to the theme of where they went and the like tones come from that, but I don't know, this one just fell short for me when it came to color story. Not quality, just color story. And color story is one of the used things that's supposed to make you buy a palette. So with that being said, I was just kind of like Next, I have the by Beauty Bay Sunset Horizons palette. I don't feel like the form in this is as good as their other palettes. I don't know what fell short with this one, but like, I don't know, when I use the cool tones in here compared to what I've tried from the Book of Magic, and then the Midnight one, and then the, what was it, Age of Opulence, I just felt like it fell short. So I personally wasn't impressed, but you know, to each his own. Then the warm tones, I don't think I've tried in here, just because I was so turned off by the cool tones, so I didn't even want to try the warm tones. I was just like, oh, okay, this is what we're working with. I ain't working with much. I do keep this on hand though for reference, especially since they don't make it anymore, but I was not impressed with that palette at all. I have way better palettes in the brand. I was truly disappointed. Another palette that disappointed me, and y'all know I love me a black owned brand. I love to talk about black owned brands. I try to make sure I incorporate many black owned brands as I can, especially the ones I know you all are interested in. And this Color Rain palette just fell short. Like the Juicy Boost with their new formula they came out with, nobody was feeling this. Now I love the color story of it. Honestly, I was just disappointed by the shimmers in here, because it's like this gorgeous shimmer right here, Sweet Ruby. It is so disappointing. Like, it was awful. The mattes weren't that difficult to blend compared to some other stuff I've tried. I bought the book one, which is why I have to keep turning the page. But yeah, I really love the color story, and the shimmers just fell short for me in here. The mattes weren't as bad as I feel like people trying to make them be, but like, yeah, the shimmers, you only got 3, and then like only 2 of them are okay, and then the fun pink one that I was most excited about was disappointing. So that's what made it a huge disappointment for me. So there's that. Next I have Melt. Now we all know, again, Melt is another brand that has a lot of hits and misses. So the miss to me was the 420 palette. So I liked the palette just fine. It's just I didn't like how patchy the colorful shades were. So I took a couple of shades out here. Like I think I took the shimmer out of here, and I took something else out of here. So I switched some of the shades from the original Gemini palette, since I ordered the new bundle, in with this palette. But yeah, like the light green shade right here was really patchy, and then like this yellow shade was really patchy when it went on. So those were disappointing to me, and those were the shades I was most excited about, of course, because we know I live for color, as I sit here with this boring neutral eye. But the palette I tried out for you all today that I'm actually editing the video for right now is why this isn't looking the way it's supposed to. But yeah, I'm here for this packaging. I was here for the color story. I just wasn't here for the fact that the mattes were patchy. At least the colorful ones I was excited about to use. Next I have Olden's Eye. I love Olden's Eye, but the Saga Freya, what is it, Cat's Breath palette was not what it was for me. Like, I like the color story just fine. It's just compared to other color stories that they have come out with, it just wasn't that great to me. And then I felt like they repeated both color stories in like 3 different palettes, because it's like they had 2 separate ones where you could just buy this color story, and then they had another color story where you could just buy that color story, and then they had one palette where they just had this color story, and then the other color story they had in the individual palette combined. And I was just like, how many times do we need this color story? Because it's like, if I was going to buy the whole collection to review, it's like I basically got 2 of the same, or 3 of the same palette, because it's like this color story and a separate color story and the other one combined in one palette, and then I had each one of these individuals. So I wasn't too excited about that. I mean, plus, we know I don't really like orange, but compared to the other shades they had, which were more warm tone, this was the only palette I had to choose from. And I know you all like to watch reviews from me from Olden's Eye, which is another reason I went ahead and got that palette. But I wasn't truly excited about that one, and I think that was like my least favorite one to try from the brand out of everything I tried. Next, I have the new palette from Adept. Now, y'all know I love Adept. I own every single Adept palette there is. I ended up getting this one just because I ended up ordering a remaster, and so I just went ahead and ordered this at the same time as well. But this is my least favorite color story from them. I don't know what's going on with it. I mean, I used the navy blue, and I felt like it didn't run that deep, and then I don't think I used the brown in the outer V, I think, or no, I'm sorry, I just used the blue. I haven't used the brown yet. I think I used these 2 shades on the end. It looked okay. It was just, I don't know, to me this palette is missing something. I don't know what it is missing for me, but it's missing something, and that's what makes it not be my favorite. It doesn't have anything with quality. It's just, it's missing something, and I can't put my finger on what it is, but what it's missing is what I'm not liking, as weird as that sounds. Next, another one of my favorite brands. I actually just bought something from this brand. Mented Cosmetics came out with complexion stuff. So she came out with concealer, a setting powder, and a sponge. So I bought all 3, of course, because I live for Mented Cosmetics. And I love Kirsten Dominique. She's one of the first YouTubers I found on the platform when I started watching YouTube in, I think, 2015 or 2016. So I am a huge fan. But the Rustic Glam palette just fell short for me. Like, this is another one of those incomplete color story palettes. Like, I don't know. I feel like something's missing from this palette, but it's like I can't put my finger on what it is. Just like with the new I just talked about. Like, something's missing from this palette, but it's like I don't know what it is. And then I feel like it's difficult to come up with looks with this palette because of the color story that it has laid out for me. Like, I feel like I could use like maybe these 2 to make a look, or maybe like the blue and like the orange, and then like this pink and purple. But it's like, I don't know, I feel like there's not enough depth in here. And then she chose weird color story for me to be able to come up with looks with, so I'm just kind of like, I don't know what to do with this. So I have it in my collection, and I love her brand, so I have every palette from her brand, just like I do with Adept Cosmetics. But I don't know, it was something about that palette just didn't speak to me, and I wasn't in love with it, which is why I was kind of disappointed by it. The last brand I have to talk about is Artist Couture. Now, y'all know I love me an Artist Couture palette, but what I find with his brand is I don't like when he makes warm tone palettes. But since we know I don't love warm tone palettes anyway, again, as I said up here with a warm tone eye look, I don't like warm tone palettes. And I don't, as generally, like warm tone color stories. But it seems like when he makes warm tones, like I didn't like the Caliente palette, and I don't like the Supreme Bronze palette either. I don't know, when he makes warm tone palettes, I just don't like them. Like, there's this cute little pop of red in here, but the rest of this is like just a warm tone version of Supreme Nudes, in my personal opinion. Like, if you cover this up, what is this? A warm tone version of Supreme Nudes. And I just personally wasn't a fan of the formula in this one. Now, I'm sure it's probably the same formula, and maybe it's just in my mind that it's like a warm tone palette. Since I didn't like Caliente, I'm not gonna like this. But I don't know, I did not like this as much as I like Supreme Mauves and Supreme Nudes, and I even like the little Quickies palette that he has. It's just, I don't know, it's something about this one I just don't like. So I was disappointed in the way it turned out for me. So those are all the palettes from brands that I love that gave me disappointing products. Let me know what you think down below. Do you love these brands as much as I do, and you have things from them that you didn't like as well? Or do you disagree with what I picked and you absolutely love the product? If you do, my bad, but you know, I gotta be honest, and I wasn't impressed with the stuff that I just talked about. So, those are my thoughts. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are diamonds. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye.